What is going on, guys? It's the Mad Dragon. So the first week of the July internationals is now over. Everything's sort of been wrapped up. We've done a bunch of videos going over some of the games, some of the match reports. We've done 3 of the 4 games. I did do one for the Argentina versus Scotland game, and the entire recording I didn't have my mic turned on. So brilliant. So that video sort of got ruined. So unfortunately I didn't manage to get that one out. I haven't gone back and filmed that, and we're now on to the next week. So I thought with all those games out of the way now, what would be fun to do is go through and check out the world ranking, see what's changed, and then afterwards we'll move on to find out what happened in the Superbru, because I know a lot of people really enjoy a catch up with that. So in terms of what happened after the games are over, we can see there's been some big shifts around. New Zealand moving back up into second now, overtaking France. In terms of the breakdown of how World Rugby works, I have no idea how these points come around. I don't think anyone truly knows how these points are sort of generated. Of course, New Zealand beating Ireland, and France did win their game against Japan, yet New Zealand move up because Ireland are higher ranked, so beating a higher ranked team is worth more points. There's a lot of ins and outs when it comes to World Rugby rankings, which I'm not entirely sure about, but New Zealand moving up into second. Australia overtake England now. Of course, Australia winning that game, so, you know, it only sort of seemed right that they begin to overtake now, moving on to 84.68. Argentina also moving up, overtaking Scotland. Of course, their win, quite impressive. Argentina looked much better than I was expecting them to in that game, so, you know, they're moving up there. Wales, of course, not moving anywhere after losing that game to South Africa, which they absolutely could have drawn. They could have won at the speed it was going. So in terms of those changes, so a little couple of shifts around there. Only 3 or 4 really is the teams we're seeing playing in these July internationals that are going to be moving in these top 10 really, and depending on how they win and lose, you might see them just sort of jump back around over the next few weeks. In terms of the overall table, because someone who enjoys playing a lot of the rugby video games, I'm sure you've seen on the channel before, I'd like to keep track of some of these points, because whatever these points are in this sort of column here is eventually what becomes their rugby rankings in terms of rugby games. So with the World Cup coming up, I kind of want to see Wales move out of 9th, but, you know, we'll hopefully get there. But with a new World Cup coming up, there might well be a new Rugby World Cup game coming. We never know. So it's quite fun to work out a little bit ahead of time of where those teams are going to be ranked. Further down the list then, beyond the top 10, Italy move up into 12th after winning their game quite comfortably. Actually, they had quite a good score. I sort of expected Italy to win, but nice to see them moving back up, slowly getting back towards that top 10. It's always interesting to see things like this. You know, Fiji ranked higher than Italy. You know, when you see them in the Six Nations every year, and Fiji sort of come across every now and again in terms of these, maybe an autumn internationals game or something, it's always fun to see them sort of come around that they are actually technically higher ranked than Italy. Uruguay and USA also moving up in a couple of their games. Romania dropped down to 19th, which is quite surprising. Romania used to be quite high up on the board. I mean, saying that, I'm talking about 10 years ago now when they were in sort of Rugby World Cup games and stuff as well. But it's just nice to see some of these other teams. A lot of teams you don't get to see a lot of the time in terms of World Rugby. You know, when people talk about teams like the Spain, Portugal, you know, both ranked higher than Canada, and yet I feel like I see Canada game far more often. We saw them last year in the summer internationals playing Wales. Was the game I saw them in. Chile, of course, so I didn't manage to get to see Scotland A versus Chile, but Scotland A looked pretty confident in that game. No real other big switches unless you're really into your rugby. When you've got games like Kenya and Switzerland and Colombia switching around there, I don't know those teams. I don't know what goes on in those games. A lot of teams moving up in the world down here as well, but it's so fun. I'd love to see more of these games. Like the Norway rugby. Where's Norway rugby at? Where can I watch a game of that? I really look forward to seeing a couple of those games. Nice to see a couple of these teams slowly move up in the world. So yeah, only a few changes, mainly just those, you know, those July internationals. Basically, if you beat the team you were playing against, you sort of overtook them, is basically the way it goes. But it does mean after week 1, no switches in terms of the world number 1. South Africa still holding out that top spot there, 90.61, the only team rated over that 90. You know, they're doing very well. It'll be interesting to see how they get on between the Wales, South Africa in the second test. I believe South Africa have actually already announced their team as of the time of recording this. I don't think the Wales one is out yet, so I'll wait to do the preview video for that tomorrow, probably by the time that comes out. So in terms of the Superbru, something everyone really, really enjoys. A lot of big calls this week, so I thought it'd be fun. We never get to do this. Normally when I do these sorts of videos, we've always just done them. I've taken screenshots off my phone and stuff, but I finally have a PC. I finally have an area to do filming and stuff, so I can actually do some of these a little bit more fun, a little bit more interactively. So starting off, we'll go to the actual round so we can see a bit of the round. This will also, you know, obviously be the the main leaderboard after only one round. And as we see, Saria, I can never say your name. Sari 2. I can never say your name. I'm awfully sorry. But you are absolutely awesome in terms when it comes around to these predictors. You're always sort of topping this board and absolutely storming ahead. 12.5 is incredible after the first round, and a real big gap. Stormer 100 coming on a 9.5 in second place, and Bowie in there on 9. Couple of close calls actually getting down here then. 8.5 for Old Firm. Alrighty, WRU 14 joining you on that 8.5. So, top 5 spots. There's some big difference between first and fifth, but wow, second and fifth is quite close by. Sambuca Lord Nicholas taking it on 8 points there. I'm slowly catching up. That's not terrible. 7. I never normally do too well in the predictors, so always nice to see. And as we drop down, we've had a lot of people join in, which is really fun. We've never had this many people involved with the Superbru, so thank you to everyone who did get involved. And then Hassie down here on 3. I'm not sure what happened there, Hassie. Maybe a couple of mispicks or just forgot to pick in time, maybe. In terms of the overall matches then, there was some pretty good calls in here. Let's start off. We'll go through the games. We never get to do this. This is a lot of fun to sort of go through. It feels way more interactive. Hopefully, at some point, I can actually do this on like a stream and actually sort of, interact with people a bit more. That'll be a lot more fun. So first game of the round was Romania versus Italy. Most of us backed Italy. To be honest, I was way off. They did really well. What did they win by? 32. So yeah, all the way up there. Lord Nicholas, the closest there on 21. Scott Rugby went for a big Romania win. What a call that would have been if that one had come off. It looks like the majority of people saw Italy winning that. Didn't really expect to buy that much, but then again, I didn't realize Romania were ranked so low in terms of the world rankings. I mean, I still think I think back to less years ago than I actually believe it is. Australia A versus Samoa, big game. Haven't actually seen anything from this one. Haven't seen any of the highlights. Haven't seen the game myself. But a lot of people backed Australia, because of course you would. It's Australia. The only person who was really on it for this one was, of course, our championship leader at the minute, Sari 2. If you do ever watch these videos, Sari, make sure you do drop down in the comments the phonetic way you want me to say your name, because I can't do it. I just suck at reading people's names. The only one to call a Samoa win, and to be honest, you were pretty much in the minority for everything there, so you did really well. I picked Australia to win. I was a bit of an outlier. I went really high for an Australia win. Sounded like a good game, to be fair, though. 26-31. Yeah, only person to pick Samoa, so keeping it going there. Fiji versus Tonga, game 3. Most people backing Fiji and ended up with a 36-0 win. That's quite impressive, to be fair. Tonga do score points in games. They're certainly not, I don't even know if they're classed as sort of tier 2 anymore. They might be drifting towards tier 3 now. But to hold them to 0 is a good performance from Fiji. And with Fiji playing Wales in the World Cup, I'm going to need Fiji to stop doing so well. Everyone picking Fiji who did play. A couple of people obviously didn't actually pick for this game, might have just missed out or missed the deadline to lock it in, but you got the default Fiji. It's a thing that Superbru does where it sort of awards you the team the majority of people voted for, so fair enough. Fiji there, you got that all on that 1 point. Only one really up there. Oh, that's very close. Ian got there on Fiji by 30, missing out on the match bonus point by only 1 point. You just needed Fiji to miss a kick or something. But good pick there all the way out in front. Japan versus France. Have seen highlights from this one, didn't get to watch the whole game. Of course, most people backing France. In fact, all of us backed France. Even the people that didn't pick got default France as well. I went quite high. What was the final score? 19 points, if I'm not mistaken there. So, I wasn't far off. Of course, this is what happens every time we do the predictor. Whatever I pick, someone picks one less than me and then steals my match points away from me. So fair play to Scott Rugby and All Blacks Forever, picking pretty much the bang-on score, only 1 point away, so you get to split the bonus point between you there. So everyone picking pretty well in that one. New Zealand versus Ireland. Everyone went quite heavily for New Zealand. Yep, all of us went for New Zealand. All of us getting that one correct as well. What was the final one? 22 points overall difference. So, WRU 14, the close on 16 again. I think you missed by 1 point. Yes, if there was 1 point difference, you would have got that extra match point bonus as well. So real close. So tips and tricks for next week. Anyone watching this video wants to play next week? I'd probably say whatever you're going to pick one more than you're going to pick, because there could have been some different match points in there. Yep, some big scores going on there for a couple of people. Australia versus England. This one was quite divided, 58-42. In terms of the group, we weren't quite half and half, but weren't far off. I went for an Australia backing. Again, thought I was really clever, went low Australia win. And of course, a couple of people just go that little bit below me. So Bowie and Old Firm there on 0.5 on the bonus points each. A couple of people really backing England. Ian down there, 13 to England. Confident in that England team. England probably wouldn't have been too happy with the outcome of that game in the end. They didn't really pick that up towards the end. So, but it looks like that seemed to be quite an even split across the board. We got quite a nice grouping. I quite like stats and stuff. So seeing that the group itself actually got quite similar scores to the world is quite a lot of fun. South Africa versus Wales. Wow, did this game go in all sorts of different ways. A lot of us backing South Africa, a couple of course, WRU14 there, back in Wales. That's where you want to be seen. If you've got a name like WR14, you want to be back in Wales in every game. Wales by 2. Really close, actually. In fact, do you not get the match bonus point? Yes, you do. Sorry, there it is. Yeah, so you actually got within the 5, so you still got some points from that one. And then T. Davis, so 5 also picking Wales there. So only 2 people picking Wales. Looks like world-wise, not a lot of people back in Wales at all for that one. I don't think anyone was expecting it to be quite that close. A lot of us certainly went into those double figures. It was nowhere near that, only 3 points. So yeah, there was a difference there. So I think, yes, the closest one there, Stormer 100. I mean, with Stormer, are you a Stormers supporter? Potentially. Maybe you know something about the South Africa team we all need to join in with. Getting that bonus point there as well. Being the closest and being within that 5, awesome. Big point scoring there. You can see the big board scores coming across. And then finally, Argentina versus Scotland. Now, this was a weird game. Argentina played really well in this game. We're really 50-50 split, actually, across not just us, but like worldwide, 60-40. I think more people might have technically backed. I think the default picks might have just made it more Argentina than Scotland. I really thought Scotland would be looking to take that game. That 40 to 60 minute period where we saw Scotland, I really thought they were going to mount some massive comeback and not just win. I actually thought it might have gone over my prediction of 7 and moved towards that. A lot of us believing 7. Did I say 7 in the preview video? Are you guys copying me? Never know in these sorts of things. Yeah, but a couple of really good picks there. Everyone, basically everyone, bar Dave. After Dave, the only one, unfortunately, just missing out on that match point. Split between like 6 people for this match point here. Absolutely crazy. But Sambuca, the only one getting the bonus point for actually being the closest there. Bang on, actually. I've only just realized that. Sorry. 8. Literally bang on. Absolutely fantastic. Sambuca has won in the past with a couple of them. So, I always feel like a bit of a rival there between Sam, but he gets some damn good picks. Like, literally bang on. Absolutely awesome. So, yeah, at the end of the final round, of course, we'll go to the leaderboards. It'll be the same as the first screen anyway. We see Seri up there on the top points there on 12.5. Sorry, I don't know what TDM is. I actually have no idea what that means. But yeah, total 12.5. That's a big score. That's a big lead after round 1. We've only got 2 rounds left to make up like a 3-point gap there. I've got to make up a 5. Stormer 100 coming in second. And then Bowie in a close third on 9. I mean, it's pretty close across this board, to be honest. It's going to be really fun to see what happens over the next couple of rounds. Down at the bottom, I'm not sure what happened there. Antoine got a wooden spoon, but yet Hassie came last. I'm not sure what's gone on there. Maybe one of you joined a little bit later, or partway through it, and it is not quite sure who came last. But yeah, 19 people involved, which is a lot of fun. When we first started doing this, we did it for Six Nations like 2 years ago, and I think we had about 4 of us. So it's really nice how much this has grown. There's so many more people involved, and yet some of the key names that have been here for the last sort of 18 months, 2 years doing these predictors are still the people at the top. Some people are just so good at picking these. I tend to prefer the Fantasy League, but this one is quite a lot of fun. So anyone who hasn't joined yet, I have no idea if you want to still join. Feel free. There is a video on the channel about how you can join this group. I'm not sure what we will do in terms of trying to catch up. You probably won't be able to win in terms of catching up from 0. But if you've not joined in this group yet, you might find you can join in and it might carry some scores over from your round 1 if you've already got the Superbru account. Hey, give it a go. See what happens. It'll be really fun. We'll probably be doing another one for the autumn Internationals as well, and then the Six Nations as well. So keep your mind on it. If you missed out on it this year because you just didn't have the time to get around to it, don't worry about it. Feel free to join in when we get around to doing the Autumn Internationals or the Six Nations in the future, because it's an awful lot of fun. I really like seeing people get involved, and one day I'll win. One day I'll actually... I have a YouTube channel where I talk about rugby. I should be winning all of them, shouldn't I? That's not how it works. Some people are just really, really good at picking these things. But I hope you've all enjoyed today, guys. Let me know what you think of the new sort of setup for doing these videos. A bit more of a sit-down, laid-back, chatting, and having it on screen a little bit. It's always fun to get a bit of feedback, let people know what's going on. Like I said, the PC is up now and running. I have a slightly different setup. I've got my name. Look at my name down here. What's going on there? So hopefully I'm going to be building towards doing some streams, which is something I've got going on in the future. Hopefully. I've been working an awful lot trying to sort out the actual stream setup so I can do a bit more. So something I'm going to look forward to, hopefully by the end of the July Internationals, trying to set up some streams, maybe just chilling out. We'll be playing some games, playing some Rugby 22 or something, talking about some of the games they got on the weekend. You guys can jump in the chat, ask some questions, give you some thoughts on the games, take some requested games, or just do a bit of a laid-back thing. I think it'll be really fun. So I'm really wanting to get into a bit now that I've got the PC and I have a bit of a setup, I can actually go about doing it. So if that's something you guys would be interested in, make sure you do drop it down in the comments that you want to see that, and that'll be something I'll try and push for a little bit quicker, because I think that could be fun. I really enjoy doing the streams. I really enjoy talking to people, and a bit more of a laid-back video. There's slightly less scripted, slightly less things going on. Just chilling out, talking about rugby, something I really enjoy doing. But I hope you've all enjoyed today, guys. If you have, make sure to leave this video a like, and to keep up to date with all the rugby news, not just things like the Fantasy League and stuff going on. We will, of course, be doing the preview videos as best as I can do, and the match reports, as long as I remember to turn my mic on. So make sure you are subscribed just to keep up to date with all the latest videos as they come out. I'll see you all next time, guys. Bye-bye.